Thank you for being here once again. Over 40 years ago, Bill and Moya Lear came to our community and made a significant impact on the lives of a lot of people, business in general. Bill Lear, inventing the Lear jet, invented the autopilot for airplanes that are still very much in use today. And Moya Lear, very involved in the art scene here in the Northern Nevada area. Cathy Blankenship is our guest at this hour. Cathy, nice to have you here. She is the Chief Operating Officer of the Lear Theater, yes, which we've heard a lot about in past years, but we don't hear a lot about today. Give us a status report as of today. What is happening at the Lear Theater?
It's true. We have been quiet the last few years. We've been quietly raising federal funding. We're very fortunate. We just qualified for federal historic tax credits and new market tax credits, approximately $6 million, which was important to us because we felt that this project had started to take on a long history of raise a little money, do a little construction, raise money, do construction. And we really felt we needed to go outside the community, raise a significant portion of money, and then be able to go back to Reno residents and say, we're more than halfway there now. We just need this little portion left to be able to complete this project.
Are you still in a construction phase?
Absolutely. We've done 6 construction phases thus far. The next phase of construction will be the final phase. The federal money that we've secured, it has an 18-month construction timeline, so we're not able to do a portion and then fundraise as we've done in the past. We need to raise all our money now, and then when that is done, we can start construction and complete it in that 18-month window.
Tell us physically where the Lear Theater is.
Some of the earlier projects, probably the biggest one was the stage area. We've actually tripled the size of the stage, both in the back and on wing space on the sides. The next part of the phase will be to rebuild the caretaker's cottage, which is on the west wing, and that'll have all the backstage bathrooms, dressing rooms, a loading dock and such. So it really will be now a performance space. Where prior to that it had good acoustics, it had a nice auditorium, but now it'll truly be ready for performances.
The building's down on the river, near the river?
Yes, right on Riverside Drive, right at the, where it ends at Ralston Street. Beautiful location, and I believe that site was specifically picked for the way the building is oriented facing the river by the designer Paul R. Williams. Paul Williams was famous architect in the 20s, 30s, and 40s in Los Angeles, and actually even internationally known. He designed the United Nations building in Paris. So Reno was very fortunate to have this caliber of an architect.
How much of a part did the Lear family actually play in getting this established? They donated money?
Yes. The building was originally designed as the First Church of Christ Scientist. Etta Morrison and Moya Lear were members of that church. And the Theater Coalition had been around for 3 or 4 years and had been working to coordinate all the efforts of the theater community in Reno. Hearing that they were looking for a building, Etta had approached Moya about supporting that project, knowing that theater was a very personal drive and something important to her. And because of those 2 ladies and the financial gift from Moya Lear, we were able to purchase that building. It was $1.1 million.
And, you know, even though you say you're under construction, which you are, a construction phase, you have had events there, have you not?
Correct. For about 5 years, the Lear ran programs. Only 2 of those years were at the Lear Theater. It got to a point in construction when we had taken out plumbing and electrical and we're working to upgrade. You have to take out the older utilities before you can put in the new. It got to a point where we could not get an occupancy permit. We don't have running water and heat. We had a very
code violations.
Absolutely. So at that point in time, we were not able to run programming in the building. At that approximate time, we had been running programs for a total of 5 years, and what the board did is looked at their financials and saw that we had raised a significant amount of money and spent a significant amount of staffing and board time running programs, and very little had been done during those 5 years, or not enough had been done in those 5 years for fundraising for the building. So they determined we need to focus on the building. If we're running programs, you spend a lot of energy, time, and effort running programs. They needed to focus on the building. So that's what we did 4 years ago when we stopped running programs, was to focus on that fundraising part.
Cathy, a lot of venues in town now, Pioneer Theater, and then we've got the Event Center downtown and the one that's across the street. How does the Lear Theater, what do you see the long range, how are you going to fit in? What kinds of events should be there?
And actually the Reno Arts Commission has a facility plan, and the size of the facility for the Lear Theater is 299 seats, which is the size that is not available in Reno. Pioneer seats 1,600. Of course, the convention center is massive. UNR has Nightingale around 600. So a smaller theater venue is actually the perfect size for small performing arts groups. They can't afford to go to the Pioneer Center, pay that rental fee. They won't sell that many tickets. It's really difficult for them to rent a space that size. But they could afford a facility the size of the Lear, which is appropriate for the audience size that they would be able to sell tickets for and be able to produce a show. So we're within their budget range. We're working with 28 arts groups that will be using the Lear Theater once it opens.
That is
so,
fantastic.
so it really does fit the niche of the capacity of size, plus the emerging arts groups, which is an important piece of our structure.
Everything from plays to music events, groups, orchestras, jazz quartets.
Music. We even have some folks, the Reno Jazz group, that wants to have a home. You know, it's difficult. They perform all around town, and they would love to have a space that the Lear is our home. So we've talked to a lot of different groups that would say, we know that we would book our performances there.
And I imagine they could even come there and rehearse, which is always a problem to a band.
Absolutely. It's both. We will be used for a lot of rehearsal time. That in the Reno Art Study also is that there's a lack of rehearsal space.
Will you train young actors? I mean, not just performing on stage, but have training sessions of how to act, how to sing, how to dance, performing arts?
Yes, and I think this building is going to be more of a community venue, so we have three components. One, we will be working with all those arts groups. They need a place to rehearse and perform. Two, we'll be bringing in our own shows. There are a lot of traveling shows that aren't the size of what the Broadway series that goes into the Pioneer, but there are shows that perform specifically in smaller venues, which we would bring. And then we do classes and other training programs. And youth programs have always been a big piece for the Lear, and we want to continue to do that. So looking at those three facets, the different classes that we would operate would be, where are there gaps in services right now? What maybe had to get cut from the school programs? What isn't offered yet at UNR, at TMCC? So we're looking at what kind of programs we can do for youth programming.
I'm thinking about, had the occasion to help promote on the radio some events, plays over at Hug High School, and certainly nothing wrong with Hug High School, but it seems to me that something like a local play, Reno Little Theater, would fit much better in your facility.
Well, lucky for Reno Little Theater, I don't know if you're aware, but they built a new building. A little bit smaller than the Lear, but with them, they're a performance group, and you know what? They rehearse and put on plays. Their building is used a lot for that group. We're looking at more being a service to a lot of different groups coming in and using us. So we both have our own unique kind of niche.
Are you looking for local donations? I know you've gotten some outside money, but you always need money from the locals?
Yes, we are. We're doing a quiet phase, so we're talking to people individually, one-on-one right now. With the $6 million that we've raised federally, we have to raise $5.4 million locally. So we're just starting that piece of our campaign, and we're going to be going back to our foundations and business community as well as individuals. So we'll have a really broad range of support, but we're pretty pleased that we could raise $6 million.
Where are you now in the construction? Well, when will the project be finished?
Well, like I said, we have to raise the money locally. So you know, what we don't want to do is set a date and we haven't been able to do that. Because of the economy today, fundraising in capital projects is going a little slower, and I think everybody that's in a capital project is experiencing that. So once we get closer to that amount, then we can work with our construction team to determine at what point can we start. But we have an 18-month window we have to stay within.
Tell us about your board, because in these kinds of situations, an important a board is very important to the whole success.
Absolutely.
And I imagine you have some great people on the board.
You know, we've had a history of some great people helping us. Right now, currently, our board president, Scott Gibson, he's an engineer with RTC, actually helped get the Historical Society in Reno going. So he's very informed about the historic aspect of the Lear Theater and what we want to do. Dr. Karen Abbott and Ken Dalton, a local fireman, are our campaign co-chairs, and they're helping us with the fundraising. But you know, we've got a lot of really great people that have helped us with our business plan. John Burkich from Washoe County. We've got
City of Reno has helped?
Correct. Well, Mayor Robert Cashel is our honorary chair, and he's willing to go talk to people, and that's huge for us. He's pretty successful. He's pretty successful at talking to folks, and when he has a passionate project, things follow suit with him. We've also got some great programming people. Larry Walters is with the theater department at UNR, and we have, let's see, Stacy Spain, formerly with the Reno Arts and Culture Department, and then Matt Jones from Bright Productions. We've got a lot of people that know theater and buildings and how to make this all work. So we want to make sure that when the building opens, it's as functional as possible for the group.
Like the people have bought off on the continued success of the Lear Theater.
Absolutely. Our new facilities chair is Robert Gurney. He's done some historical buildings around town. The Nixon Mansion is one. So he really knows how to hire the right people to do the right work. And that'll help us get more federal money as we go farther in the project.
Talking about hiring people, you mentioned at the outset that you're hiring a new executive director.
Well, I'm the chief operating officer, and we will be hiring an executive director as we move further in the campaign. What we've determined is, with the economy the way it is, we don't need a director that can run the theater when we don't have a theater yet. So we're going to do the capital campaign, get the construction started, and when we get to a point where we need to hire someone, we will be looking for the right person to manage that theater.
Can the general public come down and take a look at what's happening now at the Lear Theater?
Absolutely. Our administrative offices are located right next door. We're in a little brick cottage right next to the theater. We're there from 9 to 5 every day. Matter of fact, we have board members that are bringing potential donors by pretty much every day of the week, just to give them a tour and let them see the progress we've made in the last 2 years. Because it's, like you said earlier, we've been a little quiet.
And don't be surprised when you walk in if they give you a paintbrush and say, that wall, you do that wall over there.
We have been doing
Say, wait, I'm just looking around. Well, Cathy, Blankenship, it's a most interesting project. We wish you a lot of success, because the arts are a big thing in Reno, have been for the last 20 years.
Yes.
Much more emphasis than I've ever seen in the 50 years that I've lived here. And I think it's fantastic, and good luck to you at the Lear Theater.
Thank you so much.
And we hope the local community will support when you go out and say, hey, we need some funds, we need to raise this $5.4
million.
And good luck with that too. We appreciate it. Thank you, Cathy. That's our program. I'm Bob Carroll. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.